New York State, the Empire State. Many roads have paved the way for New York to become the sixth state in the Union to legalize same-sex marriage. This film represents one of them.
In 42 years of living together and loving together, we never thought of ourselves as single. So what could be different? Turns out marriage could be different.
If I wanna kiss you, I'll no longer hide behind the night. I ain't scared of stares from strangers out in broad daylight. I am done with all these covert kisses, stolen slide just when we can. I'm gonna make my man my missus, put a ring on his left hand. How long, brother of mine, it's a matter of time. How long, oh, and this is love. Yeah, this is love. This is love. Yeah, this is love. You can marry a millionaire on a TV show. Get hitched in Vegas to some bitch you barely know. Me and my love have spent some 7 years just building this home that we made. Still our love is second class, our union is still renegade. How long, brother of mine, it's a matter of time. How long, oh, and this is love. Yeah, this is love. And this is love. Yeah, this is love. How long, brother of mine, it's a matter of time, yes. How long, oh.
My name is Cathy Marino-Thomas, and I'm Marriage Equality New York's board president. Marriage Equality New York is an all-grassroots organization working for the right of civil marriage for all families. We go to churches, we go to community centers. The point is to have the discussion with people about the 1,138 things our government is not giving us because we don't have the right to marry. We are in existence since 1998, and we're working hard here in the state of New York to bring marriage equality to our home state. We're all volunteer. We work on the money that you give us.
June 24th, 2007. An underground performance cabaret troupe calling themselves Gender Offenders teamed up with Marriage Equality New York, or MANY, for the 38th annual Heritage of Pride Parade.
So here we are.
Yes, doing the Pride Parade.
Gender Offenders.
You look beautiful. This has been a very wonderful year. 2007 has brought the Gender Offenders shows, accolades.
We did this timeline the other day.
We started in July.
In July 2006.
Uh-huh.
Is that right?
Yep.
In July 2006.
During the blackout. During
That's
the
right.
Astoria blackout.
And we did our first show called Vitality in September, October.
Yeah.
And we did our next show in December. And since then, it's just been nonstop.
Going. Doing
About
a show,
every 3 months
show,
doing
right.
a show. I think one of the best things that we did this year, though, was really getting involved with marriage equality.
This is Cindy. Isn't she cute? With her blonde hair and bright blue eyes. Doesn't she look normal? Well, she isn't. She comes from a home of filth and deviance. Cindy doesn't have a normal family like you and I. Cindy lives with 2 women who have sex together like a husband and wife. They all live in sin. This is Jennifer, See how cute and well-groomed Jennifer is? That's because Jennifer lives in a normal household with her mother and father, her real parents.
Hi, Mom.
Hello, Jennifer. How was your day at school?
Oh, just fine, Mom. Can my friend Cindy stay for dinner?
Sure, Jennifer, if it's okay with her mom.
Which one?
How many mothers do you have, Cindy?
I have 2 of them.
Are you talking about lesbians?
Why, yes, I am. What are lesbians, Mom?
Lesbians are dirty people that don't like men and do nasty things to each other. Things that are evil. They live in sin.
But, Mom, does Cindy live in sin?
Yes, Jennifer, I'm afraid she does. The women she lives with aren't normal, like you and I and your father. Why, they're not even married, are they, Cindy?
Well, they've been in love and together for 16 years, and I showed you the pictures from their commitment ceremony, Jennifer.
Dirty pictures! Pornography, no doubt. Cindy, a commitment ceremony is not the same thing as a wedding.
But, Mom, they do always spend time together, and we haven't seen Dad in weeks now.
Well, I mean, it's just such an amazing organization. We're so political in our
And we want to be
in
even
our
more
art.
so.
Yeah,
And
and
it's
we
a good
want to
group
be as
to affiliate with.
political as possible, and it just fits. I don't know what it is,
There's-
but we just really fit well with marriage equality. And I'm really happy. Whatever they want us to do, we would do.
A group like Marriage Equality might not necessarily, in another state, it's a national organization, they may not be too thrilled to have 3 drag queens that want to, do their events and participate with them. But here in New York, this has worked out. I think people need to. It's Pride. I think this is a time we pay homage to the drag queens because we are the first line of attack in the gay community.
So visual.
And yeah, because we're out there.
And we wear our sexuality on our
we wear
face.
sissy, and we embrace it. Not us, but our sisters before us were the ones that led the Stonewall riots.
The Stonewall riots sparked the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgendered, and queer liberation movement that spread worldwide and is still ongoing today. No matter how one identifies, all are welcome in marching to commemorate the 1969 Stonewall riots, the refusal to hide and be excluded from society, and the acknowledgement of the political and cultural struggles of the past, present, and future.
I feel that, like nuns have a calling, so do drag queens.
May 2008. Acting within his powers, Governor David Paterson directs all New York government agencies to recognize out-of-state same-sex marriages. Thankful but unsatisfied, many and other grassroots organizations rally for the 5th anniversary of legal marriage in Canada, bringing to light New York's legislative neglect on the issue.
June 10, 2003, an Ontario court transformed the lives of people not just in Canada, but all over the world. For the first time, because of Canadian law, because of no residency requirements, New Yorkers could travel to Canada and enjoy and legally marry in Toronto or Montreal. Hundreds of New York couples have crossed the border for the legal right to marry.
We're happy to be here to celebrate the 5th anniversary of marriage in Canada. We were one of the first couples in New York. We got married in October 2003. We've both been very involved in the marriage movement. We especially want to thank our state legislators. We also want to thank Westchester County, Andy Spano, for being one of the first legislators to issue an executive order recognizing our marriages in Westchester County, and of course the governor, who just recently did the same thing 2 weeks ago.
My name is Cathy Marino-Thomas, and I'm the Executive Director of Marriage Equality New York. We all deserve the respect and the support of our government. I congratulate the Civil Marriage Trail for their tireless effort in assisting couples in the quest for marriage equality. I applaud the couples who have made the journey, and I pray for the couples who are about to make the journey in California this coming Tuesday.
In 42 years of living together and loving together, we never thought of ourselves as single. So what could be different? Turns out marriage could be different. The word marriage itself conveys clearly that you and your spouse love each other and are united and belong together. It represents the ultimate expression of love and commitment between two people. And everyone understands that. In the whole world, everyone understands that. The word is irreducible. It cannot be described by putting together other phrases. It is what it is, and there is nothing similar to it. No other word has that power.
Canada allowed us to enjoy a simple human right that we are still to this very day denied in our own home, New York. But we're working on that. Right now, though, today is also Flag Day in the United States. And of course, this flag means a lot to us, rainbow flag. I'm honored to bring up one of the most inspiring leaders and heroes of our movement, Gilbert Baker.
Thank you very much. I'm really just a guy that knows how to sew. Our movement is built on the shoulders of individuals who stand for freedom and equality. One at a time in every town, in every country. People who live openly and truthfully. Each one of us is a drop of water in a wave of change for human rights and justice. Indeed, we are a rainbow of hope, of love and liberation that wraps around the entire earth. In my view, the rainbow flag is unfinished as the movement it represents. It's an arc that begins well before me. Its breadth far broader than all of our experiences put together. It reaches the farthest corners of the world with a message of solidarity and a beacon of hope for those who will follow in our footsteps.
See, the place we're at now is if we lose a case or we lose a bill, our license is void. So if it's a law here in this state, it's a security level at this point. Right. I've been married 15 years. We're married, we're not married, we're married, we're not married. You know what I mean? I can't imagine a straight couple in the world that would put up with that. In this state, I have a license. In New Jersey, I have a civil union. In Connecticut, I have a civil union. In Massachusetts, I have a license. I mean, come on now. Where's the continuity? In California, I'll be married. So I can go from one side of the country to the other, but forget about the middle.
September 14, 2008. Many holds their 5th annual wedding march over the Brooklyn Bridge, an event that began in 2004 after President Bush campaigned for re-election, posing marriage equality as a threat to our nation. The event continued throughout the years and spread to other parts of New York State and San Francisco.
Let's make sure New York becomes the 3rd state in the union to recognize marriage equality. Remind those senators daily
support our assembly, support our government that is on our side, and badger those who are not on our side.
If you had asked any political consultants, talking heads 5 years ago, would we be standing here now having had the New York State Assembly pass a gay marriage bill? Would we have had 2 governors who supported gay marriage? If you'd asked any of New York's political thinkers if that would be the case today, they would have said no. But what they don't understand is the force and significance of groups like marriage equality. What they don't understand is the power of all of you every day in your neighborhoods and in your lives, being out as LGBT people, or the parents of LGBT people, or the siblings or friends of LGBT people. Now, between now and January, we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of elections, national and local. There's nothing more important we can do for marriage equality than to win back the New York State Senate.
When I go to senior centers and this issue comes up, grandparents understand it. They're with it. People of all religious backgrounds now understand and get this and want this law changed. People in this city are so far ahead of our politicians, it's getting to be a national embarrassment. We should be leading the way on marriage equality. If we can't do it in New York and be at the forefront, there is something wrong with the politics in this state. And that's why we're here today, and that's why we're marching.
Sons. One is gay and 2 are straight. And I'm here today because I want all my children to have equal rights. I don't want my gay son to have greater rights than my straight sons, and I don't want my straight sons to have greater rights than my gay sons.
Well, we got married in Canada since we can't get married in New York yet. Yeah. So that's the bummer, but it's coming.
Marriage is important, and it's important for us to have it through the whole country.
That announcement and moved everybody towards marriage equality. So that was
Hey, Sass.
This is
marriage
my girl,
equality in New York.
This is my girl Sass.
2008.
She did a great job today.
She did. She did. Now she's going to go home and take a shower.
Yes, hello.
We're confident that if we could get the Senate Majority Leader to allow the bill to come to the floor, that it would pass. We believe it has enough support in the state Senate to give us a positive feedback. So we're hoping for that in 2009.
In 2009, Marriage Equality in New York hopefully will have marriage here for New York State residents. But our fight won't end there, because we have a federal fight. And we'll have to join states like Massachusetts, California, hopefully by then also New Jersey, and maybe other states. And we're going to have to really push and really get our supporters to come out to everything and to support as much as they can and really reach out to their straight allies, because this isn't going to happen nationally without a strong movement. And it needs to start in states like ours.
Most people do believe in equality for all. Most people just don't understand what it means to say I do to someone. That's where it begins. People take for granted that right, and if they would look at the over 1,300 things that you give someone with 2 simple words, I think that they would get why we need it so much.
And then there's another 1,100 plus rights that you get on the federal level.
November 5th, 2008, Barack Obama is elected President of the United States. And the Proposition 8 marriage ban passes in the state of California. Shortly after the election, many, along with other organizations, rally in solidarity with the California protests.
My grandparents came to this country 80 years ago because where they lived they could not work because of their religion. And they moved here, not because it was a land of opportunity, but because the opportunity was supposed to be equal. I stand here today as a proud gay man to say, we will not take this anymore. I was born in this state, I was raised in this state, I was educated in this state. I pay taxes in this state, I'm an elected official in this state. It is about time this state says I get to be treated just as equally as all my straight brothers and sisters.
Good evening. Welcome to Marriage Equality New York's post-election town hall. As we all know, the election was a bittersweet victory and a major defeat for our community. There were 4 propositions passed against our community. One in Arizona, it was a marriage amendment. Florida passed an amendment banning marriage. Arkansas passed a particularly hateful amendment around adoption and fostering children. California passed Proposition 8, and we will spend quite a bit of time on that subject. Good news is Connecticut began marriages November the 12th.
If there's one thing that California showed us, it's that when you get it, you gotta really get it. So we have work to do. You know, if we can do what's happened here in other counties around the state, if we can harness that kind of energy, the kind of energy in this room and the energy from the demonstrations from the past couple of weeks, if we can harness that into forums and education and door knocking and legislative visits around the state, then we're going to get that slam dunk, and no one's ever going to try to take away our right to be married like they did in California.
Well, I absolutely agree with everything, every recommendation everyone has made. I have to say, I think this meeting is a waste of time. I think that the people who came here as street activists who wanted to hold a strategy meeting about where street action goes from here. I am thrilled with the new energy that I saw at the Mormon Temple March, that I saw at City Hall on Saturday, although I regret people standing in pens at City Hall. I wish we had marched somewhere. But I think if we want to create a statewide or national street movement, and I'm not a young person, I'm an old person, and I remember ending the Vietnam War by taking 1 million people to Washington, D.C., and I remember people being out in the streets and making change, and I do think that's a necessary component in addition to whatever people have talked about tonight. But as long as we come and just talk to organizations that have a different role, we're going to disempower that street movement. And if we want a street movement, then we have to call a meeting for street action. And this isn't it.
February 2009, Many's first lobby day in Albany. A non-supportive Queens Democratic State Senator, George Honorado, meets concerned constituents from his heavily LGBTQ-populated 12th district.
What are some of the obstacles that would prevent you from supporting marriage equality?
I had some religious reasons for it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe in discrimination
right.
of any kind. I should have every right that everybody in the world has. I still have to go up with the file of marriage between a man and a woman. Yeah. Maybe an old-fashioned individual.
And and I understand a lot of people have talked about, the religious component, how people struggle with that because their religious beliefs dictate one thing. And if marriage was just a religious term, I totally understand it. But the problem we're facing is that it's also a legal term. And because it's a legal term, it impacts us, our legal rights. It's one of the reasons why you can't get a marriage license from a priest or a minister or a rabbi. You have to get it through the state. If my religion tells me that it is okay for two women or two men to get married and to have the same protections for their families. That religious belief also needs to be protected. And hopefully that if gay people have the right to marry, that, we can worship in our way, straight people can worship in their way, and you don't have to recognize us as being married, but the law does. And that's what we're really after, is that it is a legal term.
April 2009. Many rallies in solidarity with the passage of marriage equality in the state of Vermont.
The Iowa decision came at a very good time because it opened up a lot of conversations for me with a lot of senators on both sides of the aisle. And then for the Vermont legislature to so strongly vote in favor of our right to be married and proved it by overriding the governor's veto gave me even more ammunition to talk about my life with my partner and our lives with our partners, and why can't we do it in New York if they're doing it in Iowa and Vermont?
Let's keep going there. Let's keep visiting them. Let's keep contacting them. If you are in a district with a Republican senator, I want you in the forefront of this fight, because it is going to take people from both sides of the aisle to pass this thing. Use your right as a person who can vote in this country. The system works. I can't implore you enough to use what's available to us. Let's call them. Let's write them. We have to bring them our families. We have to show them that we need to have this right. Let's tell them the stories of people living without this right. Tell them the story of my friends Gus and Elmer, 92 and 90 years old, 62 years together. When one of them dies, the remaining one will be destitute. That's the reality of the situation. They will not get the Social Security from their partner. He will not be able to afford the house that he lives in. These are the stories to take to our senators. Remind them that my family moved from Connecticut to New York to get a second parent adoption, and if we visited Florida, that would be in question. Remind them that we are having families. Remind them that we exist. Bring your children, bring your spouses, bring your mother, bring your religious leader. Insist that they come with you. Now is the time for us here in New York. Ride this winning wave. Come to Equality and Justice Day. Come to our in-district meetings. Come out. Get your friends. No excuses. Let's do this thing. Thank you very much.
As marriage equality gains momentum, the National Organization for Marriage, or NOM, forms, becoming increasingly outspoken and hostile toward the LGBTQ community by running untrue and hurtful television, radio, and online ads. On May 17, 2009, NOM, along with anti-gay Bronx State Senator Reverend Ruben Diaz and other religious organizations, rally against marriage equality outside Governor David Paterson's New York City office.
I do this work because my wife Sheila and I are together for 16 years, and I love her very much, and we've made a family. We have a 10-year-old daughter, and I want to know that the life that Sheila and I have worked so hard to put together for one another is honored and respected. Whether you believe in me or not is really not the issue. The issue is that the laws of our country should protect all of its citizens, and they're just not. I do think that it's a bit egotistical to think that you have the right to tell people who to love and how to make their family. They've lost their way as far as what this country's really been founded on. We have a separation of church and state in this country. We have a guarantee of the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness for all citizens. It doesn't say in the Constitution except for gay people. Please pick up a copy of the Constitution and read it and learn it. Put your Bible down and read the Constitution.
That same day, many, Broadway Impact, and other organizations plan a counter-rally in Midtown Manhattan.
Equal rights right now! Equal rights right now! and transgendered people do not have the same rights as straight people right now.
Our families are the same as yours. Our relationships are the same as yours, and our marriages should be the same as yours.
Marriage equality is an issue of basic fairness, and government shouldn't be in the business of saying who can and who can't get married.
And I have a very simple request of the opponents of this bill. Look me in the eye. Look me in the eye and tell me you are worth more in this world than I am.
On October 11, 2009, many moved their annual wedding march to Washington, D.C., joining hundreds of volunteers from across New York State. Armed with t-shirts and umbrellas in every color of the rainbow, they join over 250,000 people and hundreds of grassroots organizations in marching to the Capitol building, letting our legislators and the nation know that the LGBTQ community will not stand for anything less than full equality.
Today is Wednesday, October 28th, 2009. It's about an hour before a debate that's making me a little bit nervous, but excited, as I've been anxious to try my hand at facing off with this person. I will be meeting Maggie Gallagher of the National Organization for Marriage at Hofstra University for a debate on the issue of marriage equality.
I've gone around the country to a lot of places, including I try to make an attempt, if I possibly can, to come before Gay and Lesbian. It was Anthony Crispy of the Gay Pride Network who invited me to let you know what I care about and why I think this debate is difficult but worth having. For me, the place to start is to recognize that marriage is a virtually universal human social institution. It exists in virtually every known human society. There is literally one small tribe in China where the anthropologists argue about whether they have a form of marriage. It varies a lot around the globe, but it has a certain basic shape, okay? It's a public union. It's not just a private, personal, intimate union. It's a sexual union. It's not some other kind of union. Between a man and a woman, at least one man and one woman, because polygamy is frankly a common human variant among small tribal societies, in which the rights and responsibilities of the man and the woman towards each other and the children of their sexual union are publicly defined and supported.
I think that they really believe their own rhetoric, which is pretty scary to me.
And the primary reason the government has been involved in marriage historically is the idea that these unions are special because they can make new life and they can connect those children in love to their own mother and father. Gay marriage, in my view, represents the end of that idea as a public idea, and it represents the stigmatization of that idea as bigoted and discriminatory. I think that's going to, there are lots of ways in which we could, if I had been in charge of the universe, talk about how we integrate gay people with respect and tolerance into our societies. The fact that marriage has been chosen is what is creating a fundamental clash of core narratives in which it's not fundamentally about the benefits, or we would be having civil unions, and it's about what is the meaning of marriage.
They have misinterpreted their own personal beliefs with something bigger.
What I actually said is that I think that it's important for the good of children to live in a society where people believe the ideal for a child is a mother and father, even though we know there are children, many, many children in other families, and we need to help children in all families.
Well, one of the things that's on the table is that a family is a family, and if they love each other and they're raising children together, they have to be able to protect them legally. So I don't think that society has the right to tell us who to love. And by virtue of that, I don't think that society has the right to interfere in our protection of that love or that family structure, whatever it is that we as free people decide is right for us. I also don't agree that children only have mothers and fathers. As we've expanded and our knowledge of humanity has expanded, we've found other ways to conceive children. We have large population of children that are living without families that need them, and there are many loving homes willing to take those children in. And we need to provide protection for those homes. Marriage is one way to do that. Without offering civil marriage to all families, we deny children protection in their family structure that they are already living in and that already exists. Like my family, for instance. My daughter has the right to be protected by her parents. For procreation purposes, there are many couples living in married situations that can either choose not to have children or cannot have children. There are also many senior citizens that choose to get married late in life, that having a child is no longer an option for them. They need marriage protection for a score of other reasons. I think that they have some of their facts wrong.
It was the tax-exempt status of a religious charity because they refused to, in Ocean Grove, you can look it up, because they refused to permit same-sex ceremonies on their boardwalk pavilion that they permitted weddings on.
Oh, that's not
okay?
true. I know this.
The physician, that is what happened.
Thank you. And a clarification on the Ocean Grove case.
The Ocean Grove synagogue was given a tax bill because they denied the couple the chance to rent their hall that they sell to people to hold their receptions in. It had nothing at all to do with holding the religious ceremony in the synagogue. It had all to do with the commercialization of their space.
There's a storm gathering,
The clouds are dark, and the winds are strong.
and I am afraid.
Some who advocate for same-sex marriage have taken the issue far beyond same-sex couples.
They want to bring the issue into my life.
My freedom will be taken away.
This PSA overall scares me, I'll tell you the truth. I'm the one that's really scared. I'm afraid someone's actually going to see it and believe it. And that really scares me, I'll tell you. Talk about inflammatory misrepresentation and fabrication. This is the epitome of those things. I'm really frightened that there's anyone in the world that thinks that 10% of the population wanting to protect its family could possibly have those kind of that kind of power over any society. So I'm really, really scared by that. The general tone is pro-homophobia. A woman confesses she doesn't want her child to, I mean, this is just, it's just silly. It's silly is the word that I want to use for it. It's dangerous and it's misleading, and it claims that church groups are being punished by government when the bills plainly say that they're not going to be forced to do that, and I believe in the bills that are put forth by my representatives. I mean, I just have so much to say about this, and none of it good. It depicts these people as victims, and it's an insult to the entire gay community that has been living in the world of hate crimes. This only perpetuates those myths. It only helps those people that are responsible for these hate crimes have a right to do those things, as any second-class status would do to any kind of community.
If gay marriage is taught in schools, where gay marriage is not the law of the land, it has to be taught as a controversial issue. Once the law changes, your government is going to teach your children that gay marriages are marriages. Right now, you may think that's nothing or silly for me, but there are a lot of people who are concerned about it, and it's perfectly legitimate. And we have to care about every child, okay, and their family as it exists. And there are things we may need to do for all of those children. But we should not go and take this marriage thing, which is not primarily about distributing rights to adults or getting soulmates for adults. The primary reason it's a core social institution is that it's trying to increase the number of children who are raised by their own mother and father. The only way, if you're attracted to the opposite sex, you can do that is by first entering a publicly supported, enduring, sexually faithful union.
So
if you don't do that,
shouldn't be
your
entitled to that
children,
same union.
well, no, you don't want that union. You want some other union, and you want to insist that the whole society view that as a marriage. That's why you were talking at cross purposes.
I'm sorry, I think I'm confused. So my
Your same-sex...
My dedication and love and respect for my chosen partner is not as good as
It may be better, but it's not a marriage. It may be better than a marriage. It's probably better than my marriage to hear you talk about it. I wouldn't talk about my marriage in such glowing terms.
Well, I personally think my wife is better than most people, but that's
actually, by the way, the research shows that's the key to a happy marriage, is if you think your spouse is getting a better deal than you are.
But it's not a marriage, right? So how could I be in a happy marriage?
That's what I think. I think that even if the government of New York says it, that it's not a marriage.
In closing, I would like to thank, once again, Mrs. Gallagher and Mrs. Marino-Thomas, and you, the audience, for attending.
The Assembly has passed our marriage equality bill twice now, and we are looking forward to a vote in the Senate. We have finally gotten our date. Our date is November the 10th. Right now, marriage activists across the state are working hard to make sure our Senate and our governor know that we do not want that date to be put off. We want to vote on marriage equality, and we are striving towards November the 10th with various actions and activities around the state.
We are at the office of the city clerk in downtown New York City, and we're here because we are trying to see if our legally valid California marriage license is going to be valid in New York, and if we can fill in the blank for our new last name, and if they will accept it, and everything will be valid in the state of New York. I'm 11 weeks pregnant with twins, and so this is one of the legal things that we're really trying to get wrapped up before the babies get here, and we want to make sure that we have the same last name so that they'll have the same name. Let's see if they understand. We should be able to literally write our new last names on the bus, on the blank of the certificate. We should just be able to write it in because...
Even though it's not either one of yours last names?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's the normal process for straight people?
Right.
Okay.
I don't know of anyone who's tried this yet with an out-of-state marriage license to see if they can legally change their last name and for the marriage license to be valid in the state of New York. So maybe somebody has done it. We haven't heard of anyone who's done it. We've asked a lot of questions and tried to find information. And as far as we know, we may be the first ones to try to do this. So we'd like to legally change our name to the same exact last name. We picked out a new name together. It's not a hyphenated name. It's not her name or my name. And so we just want to fill in the blanks and have it done with and be married. From the state of California that New York State is supposed to recognize, and we'd like to change our last names legally on the state of New York license. What is that? This is from the county of Santa Cruz in California, where we were married.
I understand that you're married, but there's no marriage registry where you come to you come to submit your marriage records. I don't know if you're aware of that. The only information that we maintain in our office are people who come to obtain a license to get married here in New York. We don't register marriages from other states or other countries. There's no such registry. It's never existed.
Right, but my understanding is that New York State is supposed to honor the California marriages.
That's only if you actually work. Do you work for the state or anything like that? I don't know if you looked up the information properly. It says if you work for a state entity or state government, they will acknowledge that, which means that you can get benefits, they acknowledge the marriage, but there's no registry where you come to bring it and we acknowledge it. Per se, we can't give you a certificate saying that you're married because we didn't marry you.
So what you're saying is the only thing the law does is if you're a New York State employee and you get married in another state, then New York State will acknowledge that marriage from another state? That's what you're saying this law is? I'm a little confused as to why it was reporting as a groundbreaking law if it's so limited.
If you work for, it's like a domestic partnership.
Right.
Domestic partnership is acknowledged by the city.
Right.
Right.
I can't take this to Maryland and say I have a domestic partnership. You have to acknowledge it.
Right, but that's for anyone. That's not for just state employees. So you're saying that for a marriage from out of state to be recognized, you have to be a state employee.
Right, exactly.
Was there someone else that you said that you
The staff attorney. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
So, no, there's nothing that we can do. There's no piece of paper that they will duplicate or issue us in replacement of this. The only thing that we can do is to make copies of this and carry it around for any situation that we might be in, that we would need to legally prove that we're married, and that New York State is supposed to recognize this, even in a hospital setting.
So that's the process.
That's it.
Yeah, the process is there is no process.
There's no process.
Which is fine for heterosexual couples because there's the assumption that their marriage is legal, but with gay couples, there's the assumption by everyone you're dealing with that the marriage is not legal.
Right.
So you constantly have to prove it. So I think a better system would be at least to provide some type of piece of paper that says, yes, this marriage is legal in New York. Basically, his answer was, well, if people don't give you your rights, then you need to sue them. That's not really convenient, and it's not really what I pay my taxes for.
For the legal name change, his suggestion was to go to Connecticut and get married again. That was his answer, that it would be easier and cheaper to just go to Connecticut and get married again and fill it in on the blank. And he questioned, I think, our sanity of why we didn't do that in California in the first place. To which I told him, the judge in California told us that we could simply bring this here, have another duplicate license registered to us, and fill in the name, since we are legally residents of New York, not California. But he said, absolutely not. That's the wrong information. You should have done it in California. You can do it legally here in New York by, hiring a lawyer and going through the processes, or you can take a drive up to Connecticut, which is what I would recommend, and simply get married again and fill your name in on the blank. And I have to agree with him that that's probably what we'll do, because going through a legal name change is a huge pain in the ass. And getting married again is actually quite fun. So
it's good that our marriage is recognized, but I think they haven't thought about the difficulties that gay couples are going to face in convincing people that their marriage is recognized in New York if they don't have any sort of certificate that says that.
They have a lot of work to do, and they have a lot of educating of the public employees to help the people in the marriage bureau like us, because this is what we've been here for, almost 2 hours? Yeah, just trying to get an answer. So, oh well, bureaucracy.
Anything else to add to that, you guys?
I'd like to get married as soon as possible before I'm showing.
July 2009, Queens, New York, District 12. With the guidance of many, Western Queens for Marriage Equality, or WQFME, forms in response to Senator Honorado's refusal to support equal marriage rights. Fed up after a year of activism, they made this video for the senator. On December 2, 2009, the New York State Senate votes on the marriage equality bill. The bill fails 38 to 24. Senator George Honorado votes against the bill, despite WQFME's efforts.
the day when the first same-sex couples should have been getting married right here in the state of New York, on the day that the drought of inequality should have ended, on the day that we should have removed one of the last barriers to full equality to all citizens in this state, we fight on. We will go back to Albany. We will go back to the districts of people who took contributions saying they were going to be for marriage equality and turned their back not only on the gay community, but the community of all people who believe in equal rights.
Early in the year 2010, activists take a much-needed break and focus on the rash of LGBTQ teen suicides that began happening nationwide in alarming numbers.
I'm Sassy, and I'm sitting here with Margaret Cho and Marriage Equality's Cathy Marino-Thomas. How are y'all doing? Good.
Margaret, I'm interested to know how you feel about all this Proposition 8 back and forth.
On August 4th, 2010, Judge Vaughn Walker, a California district judge, lifts the Proposition 8 marriage ban. Marriages for same-sex couples resume in California. Unfortunately, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals grants a request to the backers of Proposition 8, which halts marriages again less than 2 weeks later.
It's so infuriating because people who are opposed to gay marriage don't even understand what they're doing. Because they just think that their religious beliefs somehow apply to a whole community of people who don't believe that.
That's right.
So it doesn't make any sense. Why should we honor their religious beliefs if they make our rights limited? Like, why are their religious beliefs more important than our lives? It is so fucked.
Through campaign finance reports, Fred Karger, a political professional and activist, exposed the Mormon Church as the main backers of Proposition 8, having raised $30 million of the $42 million that poured into the campaign.
So if you could talk to them and just say 2 sentences, what would those 2 sentences be?
Oh, I think I just want to kick him in the cunt. It's just not.
Absolutely.
That's not really nice.
No, but at this point, did they not stretch that?
Even when they are blocked by the court. When they're blocked by the court, why do they have the right to appeal? Why can't we appeal now? Again, I mean, it's going to just go back and forth.
That's right.
We're not going to give up. And this is not going to make anybody give up. What they're doing is they're going to make it just a bigger fall for themselves. It's just going to look so bad because we ultimately are right.
Hello, everybody. Is everybody ready to go to Albany for Marriage Equality Day? I know we're not going to be discouraged about last December's vote, okay, people, right? We need to remind our senators of the 1,300 rights we are not entitled to in New York. And remind the senators that marriage is with the state and not with the church.
Yeah, divorce is against the church too.
We need to ask our senators, why should we go to another state and get married?
I spent over $80,000 on my wedding in Connecticut.
I want my full Social Security benefits when I'm older.
And I got everybody with me?
Yeah!
I want hospital visitation.
I want health insurance benefits.
We definitely need employment benefits.
You mean this isn't the bus to Atlantic City?
I want joint parenting rights.
I want to know our house and family will be protected.
We want our grandchildren to have legal protections from both their parents.
Get on the bus. What? Get on the bus. Get on the bus. Yeah. Get on the bus. Get on the bus.
While many folks signed up to get on the bus, fundraising continued with a screening of the documentary March On, following a talk back with those involved in the film.
Even if you have marriage equality in New York, that doesn't mean that you're a full citizen. So when we talk about our rights as Americans, it's important that we also realize it can't just be for New York. What we do here, our fight, what we do with marriage equality in New York, what we do to support and to lobby in Albany, that isn't just for New York, because somebody in another state will hear about it, somebody in Arkansas will hear about it, somebody all over the world will hear about it. And when we realize that our work here today is not just for us, that's what we know. That's when we know that we're actually part of a social movement. That's when we know that we're not just fighting for one particular legislative issue. This is more than just a lobby movement. This is an actual social and equality movement.
I wanted to mention Edie Windsor. Edie, would you stand up? For those of you that don't know Edie Windsor is in the process of suing her case in Dallman because she has been faced with a $350,000 estate tax on the passing of her wife, Thea. So we all rooting for you, Edie, and thank you for everything you do.
I'm Reverend Pat, and I'm the pastor of Metropolitan Community Church of New York. I also chair our denomination's Global Justice Institute. And at MCC, we've done marriages since our inception, since the founding of the church. The founder of Metropolitan Community Churches, the Reverend Troy Perry, actually filed the first suit for marriage equality in California in 1970, so a long, long time ago. And we've been part of this witness for a long time. Our foundational belief is that, love is a universal phenomenon, and all love between consenting adults should be recognized, and there is no distinction between the love a man has for a woman for a man, or two men for each other, two women for each other. We've done a lot of research on marriages in terms of our faith tradition and discovered that a long time ago in the 4th century, marriages between queer couples were actually happening in churches before the altar, while straight marriages, which were regarded simply as civil contracts, were happening outside on the church steps. It was a long time, the 10th century, before heterosexual weddings actually became sacraments of the church. So in terms of the religious argument, there's very little foundation.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you? Okay, this morning we're going to let our opponents realize that the right to marry in a religious sense is already something we can do. We have our own religious leaders and we're already supported in a spiritual sense. So this morning we will send a couple in to request a marriage license for the civil right to marry. And they will be denied, as we know. We will come out and we will conduct a religious, spiritual ceremony, proving that we can already do what our opponents claim is the reason they won't give us this right.
In terms of the civil argument, we live in a country with a constitution that says all of us are created equally and that all of us have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So in my opinion, there really is no question about this. It's just a matter of human equality.
So totally, we're talking almost 3,000 rights between the two entities, state and federal, which is a significant difference from 10 domestic partnership rights only at a city level, which is what they're going to offer today for the same fee, just as an aside.
Did you tell News 12 that?
I hope so. If not, we'll make sure they know that. So that's where we're at this morning. We're going to send a straight couple in with Rob and Emmanuel as friends looking to get married all together. And they will make a bit of a fuss this morning when Rob and Emmanuel are denied their license.
Go. Marriage license. All right. Check it. Are you gonna take a debit credit card or are you gonna wait? Who's getting married? Same-sex marriage. You can't marry. So what's available? Domestic partnership.
How many rights do they get with a domestic partnership? How many rights do they get? Rights, privileges, obligations. How many rights do they get with a domestic
You can read the
partnership?
information about it.
Okay.
Okay? Domestic partnership.
And how many rights and privileges do you get with a marriage license? You guys are going to get a marriage license? You're going to get 1,300 plus rights? You're going to get a domestic partnership? What are you going to get?
Domestic partnership.
5 or 10 rights? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? 10 rights? 1,300 rights? I don't know, guys. What do you think? Do you want any of it? Do you want any of it?
Okay.
What about you guys? You guys were all going to get married together, right? This morning? You don't want to? You're going to take 1,300 and let your friends walk away with 10?
Not fair.
Not fair. Not fair. I don't think we want any of this. Not fair, right, sweetheart? It's not fair. That's right. You tell me. 10 rights. That's what they want to give our families. 10 rights. 10 rights for a domestic partnership. 1,300 rights for a marriage license. You tell me. All right.
Who's next, please?
I think we'll go outside and let our spiritual leader take over from here. We really can get married in a spiritual sense. So let's take that.
The Netherlands, Belgium, Spain, Canada, South Africa, Norway, Sweden, Portugal, Iceland, Argentina, all over the globe, people are achieving recognition, legal recognition of what has long been true. What God has joined together, no one should put asunder. Now is the time for this nation to step up to the plate and honor its Constitution and the promise of freedom and equality for all. We are here today to say now is the time for marriage equality in New York. It doesn't make any sense that we can cross the border into Massachusetts or Connecticut, or travel to Iowa or Vermont or New Hampshire and have marriages performed there, then recognized here. But if that same marriage between two men or between two women is performed here, it is unrecognizable, unsolemnized. Will those who want to be married today, whether straight or gay, come forward at this time? The sacrament we celebrate today finds a strong support in the scripture, in the stories of Jonathan and David, and Ruth and Naomi, and Abraham and Sarah. The vows you affirm today are lifetime commitments to build a life of love together, and through this loving commitment, to strengthen the wider community around you. What God has joined together, let no one put asunder. With the authority vested in me through the church and recognized by the state, I pronounce your marriages solemnized, good and real and true, and that you stand united as a married couple on the pathway of life. You may go in peace.
Yeah! Woo! All right, folks. For you, you get 1,300 plus rights. You guys get 10. There you go.
We don't
want it, right?
Spring 2011. Newly elected Governor Andrew Cuomo pushes for another vote on marriage equality. NOM plans more negative ad campaigns and rallies, while violence against the LGBTQ community steadily rises, as does the teen suicide rate. Through these ups and downs, a new hope emerges. Many and other civil rights groups form a new coalition, New Yorkers United for Marriage. On May 2nd, 2011, Many's Ron Zaki and Fred Anguera decide to tour the state of New York, rallying for marriage equality before the imminent vote.
Hi, my name is Fred Anguera. I'm an equal rights activist for marriage equality in New York. I am about to embark on a month-long tour of New York State where we'll be mostly walking to raise awareness and talk to people and get them to call their senators and attend events throughout the state.
After a rough start to the tour in Staten Island, Ron and Fred make their way up the Hudson River from Ossining to an event in Albany, about a 120-mile walk.
All right, Ron. So tell us where we are.
Garrison.
And how far have we walked?
We've walked about 16 miles. No, maybe closer to 18 miles.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be heading up to the Bear Mountain Beacon Highway. We stopped in Peekskill and we were able to give out some cards, but really what our goal is to get to Beacon and go to the Beacon Metro North Station and hand out a bunch of cards so we can get everybody in Beacon calling their senator, because their senator is a no-vote senator. We need him to change his mind. So that's where we're heading off to. Fred's behind the camera. Yeah, there's kind of nothing around.
It's quite nice. I'm liking it.
It is beautiful.
Gorgeous. So, holy crap. We've been walking since 7:45 this morning. It is now
6:51.
6:51. We just made it to Beacon. Ron, how are you feeling?
My feet feel like I've been walking on nails. My shoulders feel like someone had them in vices. And I'm exhausted. But other than that, I'm in favor of marriage equality. And I do support marriage equality. And I'm very excited to see what happens next with marriage equality.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, look at that. Very nice.
New Paltz Mayor-elect Jason West joins about 30 other people who attend the rally. In 2004, he was arrested for performing 25 same-sex weddings in New Paltz, sparking international controversy while raising awareness of the issue.
I was criminally prosecuted. I still actually have a restraining order placed on me, which I love, because the restraining order is the only time a judge has to explain their ruling. So you have to explain in your decision what the immediate and irreparable harm is. In the decision, Judge Bradley said that the immediate and irreparable harm to allowing me to continue these weddings would be, and I quote, anarchy, chaos, and the breakdown of Western civilization.
Wow.
I personally didn't know that I was able to influence, 3,000 years of history and culture and just evaporate it like that with a couple of I do's. But,
wow.
Don't worry, just in case you're wondering, I've been to Boston and I've been to San Francisco and I've been to Iowa. And Western civilization is alive and well. They're still teaching Shakespeare in high school, and still, Aristotle is the most famous philosopher. So Western civilization is fine.
Okay, everyone, that's the gap walk. What Ron's doing, that's what happens when you walk 25 to 30 miles a day. You get a little weird in the walk. Walking sticks help. We are on the home stretch going to Hudson. Whew, what a walk that was today. But this was all worth it. The view is spectacular. Take a look. It really is. Gorgeous. We went to Socrates. They were really excited about marriage equality, and they were really friendly, and they took a lot of our cards, and we had a nice lunch.
Catskills was kind of a mixed crowd. We got some thumbs up from cars, but some people looked at us like we were crazy.
That's debatable. We are in Albany. we sort of took a train here, and on our tour, our walking tour slash biking tour slash train bus tour, mostly walking though, we miscalculated about 15 miles. We're trying to make it to the Tulip
Festival.
The Tulip Festival?
63rd Annual Tulip Festival.
So we had to make a decision. Either walk for 10 hours and miss the festival and miss handing out cards to tons of people who can support marriage equality. But yesterday's event was really, really good, and the tour is going really well so far. People have been really positive and supportive, so yay. Do you want to add anything else, Ron?
I think we have to walk on that.
Fuck. All right, we're on the road again. We're just crossing the Hudson, just to let you know, for the third time this trip. The third time.
Not bad. They don't look bad, they just hurt.
Not bad at all. Let me see underneath your foot. Ow, that one looks like it hurts.
Yeah.
Icy hot with bandage. I think it's a winning combination.
Welcome! And thank you so much for getting up at the crack of dawn.
We are on our way to Buffalo with the wonderful people from Buffalo on the bus.
Those at the rally say this journey represents the importance of the issue. Before they left, the guys visited Senator Mark Grisanti's office.
We're looking at any senator who said no to try and let them know that the people don't agree with that.
Rochester, New York at the Marriage Equality Rally that's being organized because we're doing the Say I Do tour, and they're going to walk this whole length and cross the bridge in between two Senate districts so we can send a message to two senators that they should support marriage equality.
What do we want?
Marriage equality!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Marriage equality!
When do we want it?
Now!
Senator Lisi, your constituents want marriage equality!
Two activists walking from Buffalo to New York City made a stop in Rochester Thursday, campaigning for gay and lesbian equal rights in marriage.
After leaving Rochester, Ron and Fred get on bicycles and head towards Syracuse.
That is Tornado. That is Bike. Those are our new bikes. We are down the Erie Canal right now. It's beautiful. We're taking the bike path.
Trying to find a place to live for tonight.
Yeah, we have no place to stay. All the hotels are sold out because it's graduation weekend. Ron, what do we have going on? Anything good? Give me the good news.
We just got a text message back from Jamie asking us how many people. Jamie is a person who contacted many about getting more involved.
Awesome.
So maybe he'll be able to put us up or find someone to put us up.
As you can see, we're in the middle of nowhere.
I guess I should put on Pandora.
Put on Pandora. It's going to be the pink playlist.
The leaders of the grassroots organization called Marriage Equality New York, or MANY, are on a 26-day trek across the state called the I Do Tour. Today they rode their bikes in the rain from Syracuse.
After leaving Utica, the rain continued and worsened in intensity. Exhausted and wet, Ron and Fred start to make their way back down the Hudson toward New York City by bus and train, making stops in Kingston and Brewster. Unfortunately, the press momentum of the tour is lost by the time they reach Long Island, which housed 9 Republican no-vote senators. Disappointed, but able to make a little bit of noise, Ron and Fred decide to wrap up the tour at a coalition canvassing event back in Queens.
Hi there, collecting petitions for gay marriage? All right, let's. Great, thanks. Let me give you an empty form there. There's one there. And here's a pen. There you go, I got it.
Alright, today's the official last day of our tour. I can't find Ron. We're in Forest Hills canvassing. About how many people would you say showed up today?
Oh, I think there's 20 to 25 people canvassing today.
Awesome. And how are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm doing my guest appearance in the canvassing mode.
Anything you want to add about the coalition? Anything that's going on with marriage equality now?
Right here in the state of New York, all of the pro-marriage organizations are working together in coalition to gain marriage equality in this state. It's really awesome seeing everyone come together like this for a common cause. It's been an enjoyable experience.
The Say I Do tour ends on May 25th, 2011. On Friday, June 24th, 2011, the New York State Senate votes for a second time on the marriage equality bill.
Ritchie, Roback, Seward, Skelos, Young, and Zeldin. Ayes 33, nays 29.
Out of touch with his district, State Senator George Honorado did not run in the 2010 elections. Michael Gianaris was elected in his place and was one out of 29 Democratic state senators who voted yes for the bill's passage. 4 out of 32 Republican state senators voted in favor of marriage equality. The Say I Do tour passed through all 4 of their districts. Because of a high number of inquiries, the New York City Marriage Bureau selected 823 couples to marry through a lottery, and on July 24, 2011, marriage bureaus across New York State opened their doors for the first time ever on a Sunday. Kate and Darcy changed their last name to Toscano without having to go through an expensive legal name change. As of 2014, their twin boys, Maximo and Sebastian, are 4.5 years old. Dan Savage and his husband, Terry Miller, were Grand Marshals at the Heritage of Pride Parade that year, after successfully launching the It Gets Better campaign, which aims to reduce LGBTQ teen suicide. Marriage Equality New York merges with an already existing Marriage Equality USA, joining the national push for marriage equality in all 50 states.
That was emotionally moving for our family that, oh my God, New York won, finally. You know, Cathy and my family have been a part of this for many, many years trying to get this done, and there's been so many disappointments. And Cathy's been really down, you know, and it's about how do you pick yourself back up to get other people motivated. It's a grassroots place, you know, get other people motivated to keep going. And, you know, when New York came about, it was just like, for her, it was, we thought it was done.
We thought it was done when that happened, but it wasn't.
It wasn't.
She still had so much more to do, and she did it.
Cathy transitions to board president for Marriage Equality USA in 2011. On March 26, 2013, she speaks with her family on the steps of the Supreme Court, supporting her friend and fellow activist Edie Windsor for her day in court.
With us today is Edie Windsor, Ms. Windsor is the plaintiff in the Supreme Court case where she sued the IRS for taxes incurred on her when her wife Thea passed away. Hi Edie, how are you?
Just fine, thank you. I want to make a small correction. I did not sue the IRS.
Okay, very good.
I sued the United States of America.
Okay.
Okay?
Well, that's a big correction,
Okay.
so let's just fix that.
And the thing read, the brief read, Edith Flane Windsor versus the United States of America.
So Edie, I'd like for you to tell everybody a little bit about how we met and what, our first interactions were all about and all of that.
Yeah. I don't even remember how we met. I feel as if I've known you all my life. But I probably at Marriage Equality New York.
Absolutely. We made room for Thea to sit in the front row, and we'll put you guys up front.
That was a very special night.
Yes.
That was a very special night. Okay, there was someone from HRC and who was bringing us up to date on how the world was.
That's right.
Okay, and he was saying, we are just in line with the administration, okay, we have exactly the same agenda, and our timing is the same. And somebody in the audience, he named all the things, and somebody in the audience said, what about marriage? And he said, well, that's a couple years down the pike. And this one came down from the stage with a microphone, okay, and stuck it in my mouth, okay. And I said, I'm 77 years old and I can't wait. Okay.
That's right. Early in this case, there were naysayers who tried to discourage you from going forward with the case, saying it's too early, and then it could backfire on us at the Supreme Court level. So what gave you the courage to persist?
I was going. I thought they don't know what they're talking about. I also believe in the, this business of there is no wrong time for justice. So if you're going to go for it, go for it. And actually, Brendan Fay is who was responsible, though, for it to continue. Yeah. Brendan got on the phone. He was indignant as hell when he heard they're not going to take.
I'm not shocked.
They're not going to help. Okay.
That's right.
Now, Brendan's role in my life altogether. Brendan is who introduced us to the judge who married us. Okay. He helped us get there and everything about it. Brendan was talking to two women filmmakers over coffee. And he said, I really have to run. I have to meet these two women before the wedding, before we went to Toronto. And he said, as a matter of fact, would you interview them for me on camera? Okay, so they did. And when they left, they called Brendan and said, we want to do a documentary. So he's responsible for that. He's responsible then for getting me the lawyer who did it. And right after the decision in the appeals court, we won. And Brendan said, Edie, would you say a few words? And so I got up and I said, well, I want to tell you that when I saw the first brief, when it said Edie Windsor versus the United States of America, I was scared to death. But I want everybody here to understand none of it was my fault. It was all Brendan's fault. And I proceeded to go through each thing that Brendan was responsible for, which was every critical step of the way.
Yes.
It was Brendan. So I said, if the government comes to you and asks, Brendan's fault, not mine. Okay.
On June 24th, 2013, the Supreme Court rules that the federal ban on same-sex marriage, known as the Defense of Marriage Act, or DOMA, is unconstitutional.
So, if you had to talk to the younger generation now, how would you explain the journey? How would you explain how you got into this community and how you feel about it?
I wrote a speech just for gay people, and our allies are allowed to listen, okay, but really it was for gay people. And I talked about people ask how I felt about everything. I feel as if I have a love affair with the gay community. And it started with, when Stonewall happened, I was really this ignorant middle-class lady who said, I don't see why I have to be identified with those queens. I mean, those queens changed my life. So it was the beginning of community for me. When the AIDS crisis came, again, most of you young guys don't even know that there was a time when the world was gay men and lesbians. Mm-hmm. Okay? And rarely, you know, 2 lesbians would show up where 100 guys were, and they similarly the other way. And came the AIDS crisis when the lesbians just flew in droves, okay, to do, they did everything. They took the garbage out, they shopped, they did caretaking, they did everything. And we all looked at each other, okay, and said, oh my God, you know, it's to love.
That's right.
Okay, and my community grew, and my sense of community grew. And then when all of the DOMA cases began, okay, and suddenly we had, you know, incredible self-esteem, okay, and we knew we were right, and that somehow right was going to happen, if not this year, then next, okay, and so people began coming out, and the more people came out, the more we saw each other, and the more we said, oh my God, this is wonderful, I love them, okay, so I live in this world today, and that, you know, if I could have predicted that after Thea died, I would be living in this joyous, loving community, okay, wouldn't have been a chance. And she would be thrilled, and so am I.
The same day of Edie's Supreme Court case ruling, the Proposition 8 marriage ban was also struck down and found to be unconstitutional.
Jackie understands it. What she's going to be able to tell later on in life is, I was at, this is like, you know, you're in D.C. in front of the pool. I was at the Supreme Court when the Edie Windsor decision came down.
I was yelling at a homophobic guy during he was like, being gay hurts your kids, and we were like, hi, we're the kids. Would you like to talk to us about it?
After New York became the 6th state to offer legal marriage to their LGBTQ residents, the national game changed. Through a series of legislative votes, ballot measures, and court rulings, the number of states to legalize same-sex marriage jumped to 19 by May 2014. That same month, Cathy retired from marriage equality to focus on her family. Brian Silva, a volunteer with Marriage Equality New York since 2008, became Executive Director of Marriage Equality USA, forging ahead for full national recognition.
19 states! 19 states! 19 states!
In October 2014, a federal court ruling propels the number of states with marriage equality to 32. Within a matter of months, more states follow. Every major case citing Windsor v. the United States of America. And finally, on June 26, 2015, in the Obergefell v. Hodges case, the Supreme Court rules in favor of marriage equality in all 50 states. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Say we did it. Thank you so much for all of your hard work all this time. I can't believe it, all 50 states.
Since Stonewall, the world has changed. Gender roles and sex lines are rearranged. We ain't living in 1969. So why there's still so many damn hate crimes? Our 4 drag mothers fought on the street, being down to the ground, blood at their feet. Out of the closet and into the light, they knew even then it was time to fight for rights and dignity and the love we share. Isn't this my life? Why do conservatives care? Bible bangers need to take a pill and chill. We'll get equal rights, it's inevitable. E to the Q to the UAL. R-I-G-H-T-S now. E to the Q to the UAL. Hold your head high, I'll show you how. E to the Q to the UAL. R-I-G-H-T-S now. E to the Q to the UAL. No way, no how, they'll keep us down. Since Stonewall, gas seems to change, but Don't let Graffiti play with your brain. We have Will and Grace and that funny bag. And don't you forget his drunken hag. America always loves a clown, but don't like the thought the bag is taking the town. Look around, don't you know I'm gonna take its crown. America can't keep chickens upside down. That's right.
Say Hi Detour ends on May 25th, 2011.
Yeah, we're good. All right. You look like a big blockhead, Sophia.
Oh my god, that's the worst angle you could possibly ever take a picture from me. Don't you know, girls like you have to do it from up there.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry about that. How's that?
We got over 25 miles today. Oh, and Pandora is our friend.
So is Pink. Pink's been with us this entire trip.
Yes, she has. But yeah, we're feeling good. My blisters are at a leveling off point. They're all bandaged up and broken. My legs bandaged, tiger balmed up. It's all for marriage equality.
Yay!
Robbie said we weren't going to do press outside the Supreme Court, that we were going to go back to Paul Weiss and do it there. So I'm totally unprepared. We're walking out and she hands me a typewritten, single-space speech, okay? And I said, what do you want me to do with this? And she said, well, read it to the press. So I said, no way, okay? So I went out and I said, somebody gave me a piece of paper with a lot of stuff on it and I'm not gonna read it. And I crumbled it up. And the master picture of it shows me with a crumbled piece of paper in my hand. Okay.
And that's as grassroots as it gets.
Yeah.
I know we'll do it again this time. Equal rights is gonna be yours and mine. Get all your friends in the voting line. To deny it rights is the greatest crime. We're gonna walk the streets hand in hand. And justice for all will we demand. E to the Q to the UAL. RIGHTS now. E to the Q to the UAL. Hold your head high, I'll show you how. E to the Q to the UAL. RIGHTS now. E to the Q to the UAL. No way, no how, they'll keep us down.
We want to tell the youth that, you know, we're not there yet. We're not equal until all of us are equal. And we have to keep working and fighting. And we're certainly well on our way to that, but it's not time to give up now.